What's going on, guys? Welcome to your Saturday edition of the second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and stimulus negotiation news for November 21st. Yesterday, we got a lot of updates from Joe Biden, Mitch McConnell, Steve Mnuchin, and Nancy Pelosi. We even heard from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. The updates were good and showed progress. Now, what we are starting to see is that all parties involved are wanting to see stimulus before the end of the year, during a lame duck session. That's great. That is really good news. Nobody wants to see the American people suffer any more than they have already suffered. And also, all parties want to see some type of a bipartisan bill passed as quickly as possible. This is also the reason why we heard from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy yesterday, where he actually posted on Facebook, he posted a picture of a letter that he sent to House Democrats, roughly 23 House Democrats, saying that you guys were, you agreed, we need stimulus, let's get this PPP funding out to these small businesses that are currently struggling. We can do this, but we need your help. So he's pretty much just sending a letter, publicly stating he's sending a letter to House Democrats, urging them for their help. This is good news. And I say this is good news because unlike what Nancy Pelosi did, about a month ago, when she sent a letter to Steve Mnuchin, but the same time she sent this letter to Steve Mnuchin, she also sent it to the media to have them publish it. Well, Kevin McCarthy didn't do that. He sent it to Democrats, said, okay, this is what we need, this is how we need your help, this is what we can do. And it's very simple. This is all you need. And then he sent it, put it up on Facebook so the media could see it. That's great. That is great. But again, we need all parties involved. We need to get back to the negotiation table. And that doesn't mean Nancy Pelosi and Democrats have been sitting there for 6 months. No, they haven't. They have not been at the negotiation table for 6 months. Honestly, they are still not even there. And I say this because, and this has been pointed out multiple times lately, is that Nancy Pelosi, leading up to the election, she didn't want to pass a stimulus package whatsoever because it would have given President Trump a small win. And that small win, as we're looking at the numbers now, that small win for President Trump, let's say it was even a 10% win for President Trump, if that bumped up his numbers by 10%, President Trump would be our next president for the next 4 years. As of right now, it's looking like it's going to be Joe Biden. So that's what she did. So she hasn't been, actually negotiating for the past 6 months or sitting at the table. She's just been waiting for Republicans to come up to her offer of $3.4 or now $2.4 trillion, which they're not going to do. So if all parties want to see a bipartisan bill pass quickly, then reports out right now are currently indicating that they must begin with the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal. This is the good part. This is the good news, because if you remember, the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal doesn't just have one additional stimulus check, it has two. It also has rental assistance, food assistance, school funding, state and local government funding. It has a lot of stuff. It has a lot of things that both parties want. It's right in the middle and solves almost all of their problems. And this is good. This proposal is also considered to be better, not bigger, but better than the $2.4 trillion HEROES Act that Nancy Pelosi pretty much passed twice. This is considered HEROES Light or HEROES 2.0. And even though the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal costs less, it's considered to be better. This proposal is also much better than anything that Mitch McConnell has even tried to bring to the floor and tried to pass. So, right now we know what Mitch McConnell is trying to do is not great. That's not going to provide much relief to the American people. What Nancy Pelosi is providing and what she's suggesting provides more relief, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff in those bills that she's trying to pass that's not technically a COVID-related expense or anything related to COVID. So we need to get those out of those bills. But one of the problems right now with the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal is it's not a bill. It's just a proposal. And it's going to take a little bit of time to get that proposal into a bill. Some experts predict that putting this into a bill could be challenging, and getting both leaders to pass this bill could be even more difficult. However, either way, this is what everybody is saying is supposedly the starting point. This is where both parties are considering starting as their negotiations begin. Start with the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal. Democrats want to use the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal as a starting point and then increase it from there to get it closer to that $2.4 trillion Heroes 2.0 version. And so this would essentially mean it's going to increase in size and length. Some of the things inside the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal are going to increase. Other things are going to go out and stretch out a little bit further. For example, most likely unemployment benefits would stretch a little bit further. And Republicans are reportedly considering using the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal and merging that with the HEALS Act, which was $1.2 trillion. So remember, the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal is $1.5 trillion, can scale up to 1.8 if the economy gets worse, or it can come down to 1.2 if the economy does better. And that's what Mitch McConnell and Republicans are saying is going to happen. So if they can get it down to 1.2 and then consider merging that with the HEALS Act that Mitch McConnell tried to pass, I think back in, August. If they can merge those two together, that's their goal. That's their goal, try to get it closer to like $1 trillion. That is, and again, I addressed this in yesterday's video. If you didn't get a chance to watch either one of those two videos I did yesterday, I'll link to both of those down in the description box below. But yesterday, I said that Steve Mnuchin, based on all reports, Steve Mnuchin asked for the money from the Federal Reserve back, roughly $455 billion. He asked for that back because, and this is just a report, but it's looking very likely that this is the reason why, is because he wanted to take that $455 billion, add that into the $500 billion that Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans agreed to spend in new money. That roughly equals $1 trillion. It's $955 billion. Well, if they can get $955 billion, then they're right at that $1 trillion mark, and that's currently where they want to stand. So we will see what happens there. However, although both parties are not quite on the same page as far as whether they want to go up from the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal at 1.5 and make it bigger, or bring it down and make it less expensive, they do plan on working together. So that is the good thing. There's a good reason why things are as slow as they're going, because they are planning to work together. If we kept hearing that, the Senate's going to pass this bill or the House is going to pass this bill, chances are, without a prior agreement, without some verbal agreements from Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi, it's not going to really go anywhere. It's just going to be another political stunt. And this is the reason why we're not seeing bills passed, is because there's really nothing to gain by doing another political stunt like that. The election's over. They know who's going to be in Congress, other than, the two Senate races in Georgia. But outside of that, they know. So they do plan on working together. But this is also the reason why Steve Mnuchin has come back into the negotiation mix. Now, here's what was asked quite a bit yesterday. After I did one of the videos yesterday, a lot of people asked this question. Why is Stephen Mnuchin back negotiating when he couldn't close the deal the last time? Well, there's actually three reasons why. There's multiple reasons why Steve Mnuchin is back, according to reports. First, he is the more trusted negotiator between Mitch McConnell, Mark Meadows, and Steve Mnuchin. Nancy Pelosi would much rather work with Steve Mnuchin. He's more trusted by Nancy Pelosi, and so negotiations will happen a little bit easier. I'm not saying Nancy Pelosi is just going to fold to whatever Steve Mnuchin says. That's not what is actually going to happen. What happens is, when Steve Mnuchin gets on the phone and calls Nancy Pelosi's office, she's going to answer. Okay, she might not answer, but she's going to get on the phone. She's going to talk to him because she trusts him. Okay, she has respect for him. There's mutual respect between the two. If Mitch McConnell calls Nancy Pelosi's office, she just stepped out. Sorry. If Mark Meadows calls Nancy Pelosi's office, she's on the other line. She'll have to call you back. She'll never call him back. So, second, Steve Mnuchin is back because President Trump was reportedly not wanting to pass any stimulus before Joe Biden comes into office, or technically during Trump's time, because he doesn't want to provide any additional stimulus to the Biden administration. Give them that win. He doesn't want to do that. And right now, the reason why Steve Mnuchin is back is because President Trump was pretty much told that if you want to run for president again in 2024, you need to plan for it now. And the best way to do that, get stimulus done now, so that the American people can't say in 2024 that, well, you didn't pass stimulus for us 4 years ago, why should we vote for you now? Or, you held up, a bunch of money to small businesses, to working families, to people on unemployment. Why should we vote for you now? So, based on reports, his campaign manager is telling him, if you want to rerun for president, you need to pretty much accept what's out there for you and take advantage of these things. For example, you need to take advantage of stimulus. Passing a stimulus package during a lame duck session is going to do you wonders. So, we'll see. And the third reason why, and probably the most likely, is right now Steve Mnuchin is back negotiating because Mitch McConnell he's supposed to be the lead negotiator at this point. He took the power from the Trump administration, says, I'm going to negotiate. That's what Republicans wanted since May. But now he says, I'm going to negotiate. Well, right now his focus is not on stimulus negotiations. It's not. His focus right now is on judge nominees and the omnibus bill. So, Steve Mnuchin has been brought back in, according to reports, from Mitch McConnell so that he can step in, do the negotiations, and get things going once again. And when Mitch McConnell is done with the judge nominees and the omnibus bill, then he will jump back in and finish the negotiations, or they will do it together. Now, the bad thing about all this is that we still don't have a stimulus package. But the good thing is that at least somebody in the Republican Party has a plan that they seem to be moving forward with. Whether it's the best plan in the world or not, at least it's a plan. The Biden team, they have a plan. The Trump administration, I don't know if they have a plan. Again, I still want to hear from President Trump. I still want to know, what is their plan? What are they going to do? What should the American people be looking for over the next couple of months? Is there going to be anything for us? Well, that's what I'd like to know. So really only time will tell if there's anything out there or anything's going to come from what's actually happening right now. The good news right now is that it seems that our congressional leaders are keeping their distance from the election issues. That is the good news. Now, whether you're all for President Trump or not, it doesn't really matter. It's not relevant here because what we are focused on is stimulus. Who's going to bring us stimulus? I'm not an election channel. I'm not a political channel. I want to talk about stimulus because I am a business owner. A lot of people out there are struggling. Maybe you're not a business owner, but you have a 9-to-5 job. But if you get closed down, like here in Washington State, a lot of gyms are closed down. Actually, every gym is closed down, unless you're trying to push against the governor, but that's a different story. But right now, how can you get funding? How can you get some type of assistance? That's what I want to help you with. So, every one of our leaders seems to be focused on stimulus, the omnibus bill, and trying to do their job. Now, I know it doesn't seem like this, especially when Congress is sending their members home, less than a week after they finally got back to Washington. But that's what they're doing. I know it doesn't seem like they're focused on stimulus when Mitch McConnell is trying to pass judge nominees. I know it doesn't seem like they're focused on stimulus when they're too busy doing other things. They're just bashing the other party. But that's what they do. So, One thing I want you to keep in mind, though, if you are struggling to pay rent, put food on the table, or anything else, reach out to people in your community, because there are so many different programs that you can go and apply for that will provide rental relief, mortgage assistance. There's even mortgage forbearance that you can go and request. There's places you can go and get food. Many cities, states, and counties have all this stuff. So go and get it, and don't wait to ask for help. Because right now, what we're seeing as more and more families start to lose their homes, more and more people start to get laid off, what we're seeing across the country, and just looking at reports, is that we're seeing so many food banks don't have enough food. We're seeing a lot of shelters do not have enough places, do not have enough beds for women and children to sleep. We're seeing a lot of people struggling simply because they're waiting for too long to ask for help. So if you need help, go and ask for it, because there is going to be an increase in pretty much all applications, is what many states are predicting, is that we're going to see more people requesting assistance for rent, for food stamps, SNAP. This is what they're expecting. So we'll see. Also remember, today, November 21st, is the final day to reclaim your stimulus check from the IRS. If you have not done so already, go to the IRS's website and do it now. If you don't do it before the end of today, then you can still get your check, but it will not come until you file your 2020 federal income tax return. And that's going to come in 2021. So if you want it now, you have to go to the IRS's website. In other news, the United States yesterday reported 198,537 new COVID cases yesterday alone, and 1,947 deaths. This is coming at a time when many hospitals around the country are begging their communities to stay at home and social distance. Hospitals are reaching capacity, and some have already exceeded patients to available beds. That is not good. When patients are sitting out in the hall waiting for a bed, that is when the death rate is going to increase. When hospitals become overrun, the death rate will drastically increase. So be careful at this time. Well, that is what we know right now regarding stimulus and our constantly increasing COVID situation. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so I can keep you updated on all things stimulus, and I'll see you guys on the next one.